Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
We're live. We're live. We're live. Hey guys. Yeah, we're live. Welcome to Milestone 4. Thanks for tuning in. We have quite a show for you this time around. I'm gonna try and keep things moving because there's a lot to cover. But first, for the new folks tuning in, what is Mooncast? Mooncast Online is a player-driven survival crafting MMO set in this medieval bubble with a dark history, where you can explore untamed lands and uncover rare materials to craft powerful gear. Yeah. Where your choices are meaningful and you get to shape the world and your journey around you. If you want to follow our development, tickle the YouTube buttons for us. Only you can defeat the boss. It's algorithm, the boss. Subscribe, like, share, come and say hello in our Discord server. Oh, this is hard. I gotta click a lot of stuff. Discord server. That's it. Please come hang out with us. It'd be great to see your lovely faces. And also want to let you know that we have a website. It's mooncast.productions. Yes, it's a very strange domain, but it's perfect. And it's lore flavored, so go there with an expectation you're going to learn something about what might be this game. And there's a whole bunch of links in the description below here, so don't sweat it. You don't have to type a lot. But I think it's a good time for us to introduce the rest of the team. Let's bring on the crew. This is Eric Tuvey. He's our principal engineer and now blockchain specialist.
How y'all doing?
We've also got Angel Campos, who is senior gameplay engineer and fishing aficionado. And last but not least, we have Maxie Keller, who is an animation wizard and occasional jumping puzzle level designer.
Hello, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
So let's do the timeline check. We began this. The first day was May 16th last year, and now it is Milestone 4, January 10th. It's almost been 8 months. Not quite. And the recap for Milestone 3, in case you didn't check out the last hour-long video, you're welcome to if you like. We created our first full-size zone that you could run around and explore. The first items could be collected in-game. You could actually navigate and mess around with your inventory management and equipment. And we added a pretty unique system with dynamic equipment slots that certain items can have slots on them that other items don't, like belts and backpacks. We created network interpolation so you could smooth out character animations. We had our first networked items that weren't characters. We had trees that you could harvest and beat up and they'd shrink. We had our first stats tracking for stamina and health, which was really basic, but it worked. And there was our first production deployed blockchain contract. That's pretty significant. We had dynamic minting NFTs to your wallet that you could buy with Bodhi on the way in and get your event pass on the way out. We had reading your wallet contents so you could tell that you had an event pass so you could get in if you had it last time. We added a website with a ton of improvements, and we added merch. And we added one-click logins for account management. So you can go through Discord or Google without having to give us a password. I like that. And then we also restructured our zone servers. The whole tech was rewritten so that zones could be node software and could eventually be run by users in the future. And so many other things. And so Milestone 3 was really packed with a wide variety of things that we were putting in first pass. This is Milestone 4, and it's really easy. I want to point out that Milestone 3, we made a lot of stuff really quick, but it wasn't really production worthy. A lot of it needed to be a little bit like touched, fixed, reworked, integrated. And on Milestone 4, we've really focused on the bigger impact things and went really deep on these things. So a lot of the core systems that came out in Milestone 3 were improved, but a whole bunch of new stuff these are like deeper features. So I want to pause here and just say, this is not the usual way I'd like to run stuff, but I'm the eat your vegetables kind of guy. But this time, let's eat our dessert first. It's time to see the beautiful art that Glorymar and Maxi have been working on. And let me set the stage. Imagine yourself. We got to make a deep voice for this. Imagine yourself living and working in a medieval village, gearing up for battle and supporting your friends. Here you go. Come on, let's go, man. That's awesome. Great job, guys. I had nothing to do with that, I promise. Yeah, that's the art team, and they're just killing it. So let's talk about Milestone 4. Like, Milestone 4 it's been 2.5 months ish, and also there's Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and all that stuff. So yeah, you normally don't expect all that much to get done over December for sure, but even November, I think we managed. We did okay. So let's go with in no particular order. Let's start with Stacy. She did a bunch of. Let me see if I can just show you the video while I talk. She did a whole bunch of cool NFT design and merch, and did all kinds of, like, there's an Amazon page and an Etsy page both, and in those they have different items in them. This is our OpenSea with a bunch of NFTs. By the way, if you guys are in the UK or in the EU, those are different Amazon pages. We didn't know that, so we set one up in the UK, realized that doesn't cover the rest of the EU, so then we went back and did it again. But yeah, if there's anything in particular you guys are interested in and it's not on the site that you go to, let us know and we'll throw something up there. Amazon's not exactly easy to work with. There's supposed to be a page for our whole brand, and they don't work over there, so we'll have to dig it up with their support. But anyway, so that's all the stuff that Stacy managed to pull out of the hat. And let's see, Catherine did a bunch of design work on planning out fish and figuring out their in-game data. She designed a number of crafting stations, and that was actually augmented somewhat by Glorymar as she was building things out. She designed the food system with me, and we now know things like why would you cook food and what makes one dish better than another, and it all actually makes sense in the context of real life, but also in context of the game. And then we worked on putting together the world map, and now we kind of have an idea of, in terms of scale, like how big the world is and how many spaces are going to be, and how many people would be supported in one instance of the world, because like You may remember we're going to have multiple instances of the world, and in some cases, you may be able to buy your own. That's a ways down the road, but we're supporting that potentially. So, okay, so stuff that I did. Let me move this around 1 second. All right, so I did a bit of not a lot, but I did a bit of coding. There was the push to talk real-time voice chat, which is, I think it's positional. We haven't tested it a lot. You guys are going to have to check it out and let us know. I think I did it right. I hope it's not global. But you have to push the key, hold it down, and talk. And I believe it should have a reasonable fall off for characters. There is a new dynamic resolution system. So you can hit escape, go to the settings menu, and you can swipe back and forth and change how much resolution you want on screen. Everybody has different aspect ratios these days, so it's kind of like it's resolution targets, but it gets pretty close. And actually, I have a video of that. It may be a little hard to see, but I'll go ahead and show it to you anyway. Okay, so you can kind of see here. I'm not sure if you can see it well, but if I crank it up, the quality of the image is way higher. If I crank it back down, it's way lower. But notice the UI is still high quality. So you get better performance, and you can adjust it to whatever dimensions you want. You can crank it way up if you want to. Yep, so dynamic resolution. If you have any kind of performance issues, if you have a really big monitor or a 4K laptop or something, you probably want to crank that down a little bit, because there's just, it's fewer pixels if you reduce it. Doesn't change the visibility all that much, but anyway, that's in your control now. Let's see, I added some code that forces all the items that are created in the game according to the correct economic sources. So whatever's required to produce them, that's what it has to consume. So for example, like there's token backed items that need to be paid for by the zone. So when we spawn some sort of material, it needs to, it's not deducting it, but it's actually moving from one wallet to another, essentially. Whenever the tokens get used, they can't be used for multiple different things. You have to use that, and then you create the item. Similarly, when you craft something, you have to consume the materials from the person's wallet, or not wallet, but their character inventory. So if you've got some item that you're actually crafting, you need to be able to say it's 2 of these and 3 of those. Those things have to actually be consumed in order to produce that item. And previously, it was just like a / command that would make anything you want, but that means that it's likely that even accidentally, we would make mistakes, and the code might have some avenue where it could produce an item that it didn't pay for. That's not possible anymore. It's actually pretty difficult to do. Let's see. I did some podcasts over the last 3 months, both real and imagined. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks to the Masters of Materium guys for having me on, and also Faz Radio. There's also there's an AI Notebook LM podcast about land management that I think actually turned out pretty well. It was pretty entertaining. And that's the imagined one. I didn't give it the script; it just made it up. But I gave it all of our design documents, and it was actually pretty accurate. So check that out if you can. And let's see, I worked with Eric a bit to build some general blockchain tools, and we did our first pass at an airdrop, and that worked out pretty well. So on Christmas Day, we dropped a couple of NFTs to the community. If you notice in your base wallet, if you have Bodhi, you ended up with it's an ugly sweater, but it's an equipable title called Silent Night, and also a kind of dad jokey one. But anybody who logged into the game previously and has the event pass, you also got a Elf Fulfilling Prophecy, which I just thought was great. So and thanks to Stacy for putting those NFT artwork together. I did a thing that is essentially it's item expiration. One of the things that you need in a game where items disappear, you need the server to be able to make those items disappear and have the client handle it properly. And yeah, so we needed fish. Raw fish need to rot at some period, and cooked fish will probably last a little bit longer. But yeah, here's a little video to explain what that means. Okay, so we have fish, and what's interesting about fish is that I now have a yellow perch, and here it says there's a stat creation time, and that's a UTC tick time, and then stat expiration is 30. So 30 seconds from after I collected that fish, it should go away on its own. And if you watch down here, after 30 seconds, it should do that. Look at that. Like it actually says it's expired, and it deleted the object because the fish is supposed to have rotted away. And it was so well behaved that even though I was looking at it in the UI, it correctly cleaned up and then showed me whatever else is in the inventory. I think that's pretty good. So that was probably the end of what coding I got to do. But I did send literally hundreds of emails to investors. I did a number of live pitches, and I had some great conversations with some fantastic people. And I have a few more leads that I'm actively chasing down. We did sell our VIP bundles and Bodhi bundles to a few of our hardcore supporters, and we love and appreciate them. And yeah, I can't say enough. Their support for the project is simply amazing. Let's see, Glory Mar, you saw a lot of what great stuff she already did, but I'm gonna show you a video. It's gorgeous, but I want to also impress that. So she couldn't show all the stuff that she'd done in the last few months because there's so much of it that it would just go by in a blur, or it would take minutes and minutes. So this is more of a selection of some of the stuff that she did, but she did a ton of 3D models for fish and crafting stations, so many crafting stations, a bunch of player buildings, the exteriors, and she got a chance to do some of the interiors, which you may have seen some of in the video I ran earlier. And also, just at a moment's notice, we said, hey, could you make a Bodhi McBoatface character? And she just whipped it out in a day and a half. It was amazing. And then also pulled out a male and a female and angel cosmetic character. And yeah, I'll just show you the video. I'll stop talking. So yeah, those 4 materials you saw at the end, she showed me a screenshot of like 35 materials or 40. It just goes on and on and on, but it's gorgeous, and she did a fantastic job. Eric, you want to take over?
Sure. Yeah. So in since the last milestone, I've been mostly working on lots of support for our blockchain integration, and that means that when we do airdrops and we're minting NFTs and awarding our bundles to people, working with Jason to make sure that we have tools to do that. And another thing I'm learning is that places like OpenSea and Rarity, they have their own way of doing things. And if you want your stuff to appear on those websites, and have them functional, you basically have to figure out how to go about, maybe you have to update your contracts or, all kinds of other things that we've had to do to support that. So it's nice that our stuff is on OpenSea. It's great. That was one of the big focuses this go around. I guess I worked on the console window. We didn't actually have a console window at all, and there are lots of packages that you can plug in, but I started fresh and made something that was exactly what we needed, that was performance and efficient. And you want to go ahead and cue that up, Jason? I'm going to show the debug console that we added to the game. So you activate it with the tilde key, and it comes up right here. First and foremost, we have a help that shows you the available commands that you can use. There is an alias section down here for some shortcuts. So instead of typing help, you can type /? and get the same information. There is a tab completion that we have added. So you can type in /help. And if you type in /, you'll see a question mark automatically pop up. That's a partial match. You can use the up and down arrow keys to cycle through the possible matches. And when you find one, you can hit the tab key to fill it in for us. And that shows you how that works. There's a history also for commands that you can activate by using the up and down keys. It goes through the last, I think, 20 history commands that you've used. You can also clear them out by typing clear. There is warning as well as error text. So for example, if I'm using this stat command and I don't have a character and I'm telling you to modify something, that shows up in red. And we also have a warning that shows up in yellow. And so we're going to be using this for testing and internal stuff, and possibly for other uses later on. Cool. Yeah, some of that's in depth, these videos, guys. I'm making them also for our internal team so that they're familiar with the tools. So just so you know that. It's not necessarily made for everyone here, but I'm glad to be able to show those off. Next, I worked on some build scripts so that we can kick off our weekly and milestone builds and our public builds quickly, and take all those settings and be able to enable and disable certain features based on those scripts. And I also worked on enabling some of the NFTs that you see when you first launch the game. You've noticed that there is a VIP badge, a backstage pass, and our individual event badges. Now more of that stuff is functional. So go ahead and show the next video, Jason. I believe it's the milestone badge. When you come into the game, you need the event pass for each milestone. Normally, we buy those here with Bodhi. You can buy them anytime we do a new milestone release. You can just do this. Or you can, for a one-time fee, buy the backstage pass. This is something we just enabled. And this gives you access to all future milestone builds and gives you event passes so you never have to pay for them individually. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how that works. Notice there's a description here down here right that explains that. I'm going to go ahead and click on buy, and I'm going to approve my wallet, and I have to confirm this purchase. I'm going to buy a backstage pass for 25 USD. If I choose not to do that, I can hit cancel. Here I go. I'm going to buy it right here. And it was successful. And here's my backstage pass. It's blue, designating that I do have it in my inventory. Now notice that the event pass no longer is bought with Bodhi, but just minted. So this is free at this point when you have a backstage pass. So I'm going to go ahead and click on mint. It's going to mint the pass for me, put it in my wallet. And at this point, I'm ready to play. I have the event pass for this milestone. Again, use this for all future milestones. And I can hit play now and be able to get into the game. Thank you. Thank you. Cool. Very cool. And then lastly, I worked on getting our player game death loop finally at the game. So you can actually die. There's a resurrection timer. We have death animations. So next we would connect various things to death, so that if you take fall damage or what have you, we can finally start working on some of that stuff. You want to go ahead and show the next video, Jason? Thanks.
There's no audio on this one. It's just fun to watch. There's something just pleasing to watch your guy like run himself right to death. It's awesome.
Cool.
So yeah, there are other people who are working on stuff behind the scenes. Jonah has actually been working on the material library for a long time, and we just now rolled it out. It's part of this build, and some of the things he's been doing have been quality of life improvements, but it's also unlocking the performance we need for our crafting system. The crafting system is very complicated and could absolutely crater our performance because, well, I'll let him explain it.
My name is Jonah, and I've been working on the material library. So what the material library allows us to do is it allows us to combine all of these different meshes and all these different materials that you can see kind of scattered about here in a randomized fashion, and combine them into one material that we have to worry about. And this isn't just one material per object, this becomes one material for all objects that use this library. So what this allows us to do is, instead of having to say, all right, I want to draw this piece and this piece and this piece for all of these, it's a little hard to see here, but there's 4 different pieces for each of these cubes. A little easier to see if I pop over here to Blender. So you can see it's all color coded and you can see the different pieces there. Even if they are separated, it's considered one piece in this case. So what that means is, instead of having to draw all 4 pieces, you just draw the one combined piece. This means that the number of draw calls decreases, which is fantastic for us. You can see it's a pretty sizable drop here. In this case, it's about a quarter because of the fact that there are 4 meshes being dropped down to 1 mesh. So a similar thing you see is also that we have batches getting decreased. So batches are exactly like they sound like. They're a batch of draw calls. And so while they're helpful to be able to get things grouped together to be able to make the GPU a little more efficient at its job, getting those batches together can be a bit of work. And also switching from one batch to the next is a little bit of extra overhead for the GPU, if not much. So what this allows us to do is, instead of having to be a little pickier with our batches, we're able to actually go ahead and do fewer batches because the materials are no longer a factor. It's all just using the one material, the one shader. And so everything can happen all at once. So that means that the batches can group more things together that otherwise would be a little more disparate. And so this leads to another large reduction in the number of batches that's necessary. So all of this combined means that we can see a much smoother performance. And more importantly, as crafting gets to be implemented, we don't have to worry about the potentially hundreds of different materials on screen from all the different types of resources and things that you'll be able to find in game for all the different player crafted items. All the game will have to see to be able to render things is one material library. Everything else will be taken care of, and so it can render things much faster and much smoother than we would otherwise potentially be worrying about.
Good explanation. Jonah also managed to, he started and finished a trail renderer that does decals. So we don't have a video of that. We didn't have a chance to actually put it into the game yet, but what it lets us do is, I mean, for one, like deferred decals just does a really nice job of putting like imprints and scratches and blood splats and things like that. But having a trail that does decals automatically places them for us so that we don't have to figure out like overlapping footprints a whole bunch sometimes looks silly. And also it's easy to get hundreds of unnecessary copies of something in one spot when you really only wanted one. So this trail system actually takes care of all that for us. And he's also been helping us get ready for Unity 6, which that came out about 6 months ago, and we haven't switched over to it because we've been too busy. So all good stuff there. And Angel, you're up. Oh, you're muted? Your mic's off. No. Hey, do you guys hear him? Maybe I don't hear him. Okay, we're gonna go past you and then come back. Maxi, you're up.
Hello. So yeah, this past milestone, I guess, it's been busy. Mostly, I've been focusing on a lot of crafting and what's it called? Oh my god, my brain doesn't work anymore. Anyway, crafting, and the other thing that is when you take down trees and stuff like that. I can't remember the word. Sorry.
Oh, the harvesting.
Harvesting, thank you. That's the word. Harvesting and crafting. There's a ton of animations, like never ending. As we still have more. All those stations that you saw from Glorimar, I'm making animation for that. Then there are some fall damage or fall death animations. Those were super fun, pretty brutal, but a lot of fun to work. Then I did exhaustion, locomotion. So when your stamina runs out, you just start looking visually tired and, eventually death. And then what else do you have here? Okay, so like fishing animations, that's supporting Angel, working closely with him to see what we needed there to make it work. And I hope you guys like it because I think it turned out really well. And then the past month or so, it was mostly that video that you just saw, that trailer. That was super fun to work on as well. Learned a lot of camera work because I never done too much camera stuff before, and yeah, was a lot of fun.
You do everything now.
Yeah.
Awesome. I've got a video for you. So here's some of the stuff that Maxi's done a little bit. Not everything, because there's so many crafting animations, but here's a selection of them.
So yeah, as you can see, it's very rough, but like the idea is to communicate what you're trying to do, and then eventually all that will look nicer. But yeah.
I think it looks pretty good.
I think it communicates the idea. The intention is there.
Well, there's a lot of animation, and
Yeah.
getting a first pass in there is actually really important. That way we can start hooking those things up and making it actually function and look like you're doing something in the game. So
Exactly.
that's actually in line with a lot of the things that we're doing on Mooncast. Is we're doing the first pass as quickly as possible, and I don't feel like we've done the wrong thing there. We've got a lot of content to get in. So,
Absolutely.
Angel, you ready to go?
Mic check. We good? All right.
Good.
Yeah. So since last milestone, I think feels like a long time ago, but I think we were rolling out equipment slot updates, and one of the things that I was a particularly interesting challenge was making it so that all the slots were easy to assign and stick stuff into and take stuff out of, and that proved to be a little bit more complex than I had initially anticipated. But I think what we wound up with was a pretty good result. The only issue was that it kind of broke the previous structure of how players accessed stuff. So we put up a little HUD on the right to help you with the key bindings, and I think it works pretty well. I don't know if any of you guys have gotten confused since then, but I think we have a video of it in development.
I'm going to introduce some new UI that will help disambiguate how keys map to available slots. Under the hood, keys are assigned to slots on a first-come, first-served basis. What that means is if I put on the belt first, the belt will claim keys 1 through 3 since it has 3 slots. If I put on the backpack next, the backpack has 4 slots and it'll claim the next 4 keys. What this means is I can press keys 1 through 3 to grab whatever's available on the belt, and 4 through 7 to grab whatever's available in the backpack. Now if I were to take off the belt, the backpack shifts up and now claims the first 4 keys with its slots. If I put on the belt again, it now comes second and claims the next 3 keys. So let me add some weapons to further demonstrate how this works. We don't have consumables at the moment, but they're going to work the same way once they drop. So what we do here is we press key 1 to grab the axe, and you can see that the axe has left backpack slot number 1. It is now on my right hand, which is why it doesn't appear there. So I could technically fill this slot with another weapon if we had another one. I could put the axe back in slot 1 and go for slot 5, which is the fish sword, and then trade it with slot 2, and then put that sword back in slot 5. So hopefully this helps make sense of how keys map to slots, and hope you have fun with it.
Yeah, so that was great to see working, and I know recently we've got consumable slots working too, so it's very likely that you'll see players running around looking like a Katamari, figure, like with a bunch of fish stuck to their body, but that's intentional. Like we want them to look like that. And then, yeah, other little improvements that I made. We now have a inventory notification toast that pops up out of the lower right of the screen rather than a huge ugly overlay that I just slapped on there last time. So that'll at least notify you without taking over the whole screen. And beside that, I mean, the big gargantuan thing I did since then was just take on fishing. And it feels like I've been working on fishing for a whole year. That's how much I've been thinking about it. But no, it's actually I don't know, like a couple months, I'd say. And we started off with a prototype where I just one day got a wild hair across my brain. I'm like, I should prototype a fishing game, and then that opened up a Pandora's box of like, well, how do fish move and what kind of rod, mechanics are fun to play with, and what is line tension? How does that work? And then that, like, that was self-inflicted pain, but it was well worth it. And I think we have a video of some early iterations. It's one of the first things that I needed to get down is how does fishing line stretch, and how can we use that in a simple way in the game so that we can make pulling fish somewhat of a fun mechanic. And I think we have a capture of that.
Now this line always wants to be at a particular length. So this line does break at some point, and the way I can do that is by yanking on the line. Right now the yank doesn't have a lot of power. So if I increase my force to, let's say, something like 10, I'll have a lot more strength to pull on the line with. I can reach that breaking point, which is the strobing effect right there. Let me cast this bobber out there. It's a pretty good cast. And so now this fish has quite a bit of pull strength, and my rod is following my mouse, so that's how I'm able to pull against it. So every time I right click, I start reeling him in, and I want to do that at the times when he's not pulling against me, or else I snap the line like that. Right there, I'm snapping the line for sure. But yeah, this is feeling more like I'm actually trying to pull something in. And for maximum distance, I go all the way back, and then I just release the mouse button to throw it as far as it'll go. To throw it a shorter distance, then all I need to do is kind of click, drag, and let go right here, and then I don't get that far. Obviously this is too short to make it to that target, so let's try making it there with a bit of fine-tuning. So I'm gonna maybe right about there. Oh, I still overshot. So let me try that again. A little bit closer, but not quite there. And there it is. So that should add a bit of challenge and muscle memory to casting.
Yeah, so go ahead.
That's not where we ended up. There's another half to this, but yeah, I just wanted to point out, like, these iterations look really fast on screen, but each one of those is probably what you say, like a week.
Week and a half in between there, and then sometimes it would just be like, few days working out on like, well, how do we accomplish this particular, like ambiguous feel that like we've got in mind, and all this stuff. And yeah, it's just back and forth. But I like how fast we were able to gather feedback and iterate on it. And yeah, I think we have part 2 of that video.
Yeah, when you're in it.
So I'm going to go fish at Mooncast Lake. So I'm going to acquire a rod. The rod has been moved to this lovely little fishing shop here. And I'm going to walk over there. You can acquire the rod, equip it into your right hand, and just cast. So the way you cast is, again, click and hold and let go when you're ready to throw the bobber or the bait into the water. So you can, right now, you can hold it until he pulls back all the way and then just let go. That'll give you a nice far cast into the water there. And in about 10 seconds, you'll get a quick time event. There it is. And then just gotta hit the mark. And now you can fish. Just reel it in. The fishing experience will come to an end when you exit the water tile. So basically when I make contact with the pier. There it is. And he got his fish. I can choose to keep it or put it back. I think I'm just going to hit confirm for now.
By the way, we have those rare see-through fish in Mooncast, so that's what he was catching there. Rest assured that there are actual fish in his hand now, but for the prototype, we were using that rare breed. Yeah, I mean that was quite a journey. I think even up till today, we were like iterating on some last-minute tweaks to really put the finishing touches on it. I didn't think it would get through, but somehow miraculously we pulled it off. And so I'm really excited to finally get this out there. Maxi's been a great help in getting this accomplished. You know, a lot of his animations and like hard work are finally going to pay off for this because I didn't want to exclude anything that he had done. So yeah, really happy about it. And I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, it looks phenomenal. And we literally were still working on the last build 20 minutes before this started. So we pushed it out. It's up on the website right now, actually. So you guys, if you want to get a jump on it, you can start the download now. It's only 350 megs, so it's not that big. Yeah, okay. So that got us through the majority of how this last milestone has gone. And I think, you know, as a follow-on to Milestone 3, where we talked about, you know, how things are going for us as a company and as a team, I think this is a good time to, I don't know if you could hear that, but yeah, this is the right time for this. So the team health check. Let's talk about what went right. So I am super impressed with Mooncast and what we've built, and I hope you guys are too. This has been a pretty bare knuckle indie project, in mostly a good way. I mean, this has been really returning to my roots, especially like just doing everything and working with people who are willing to do the same. When just as like a recap, like Jesse, when he launched Bodhi, there were no promises. And looking at what's been accomplished, I think it's remarkable. The money that was donated was, again, like no promises, but we pitched a game that originally I had spec'd out, like if we have 15 full-time developers, we'd be able to do this. And what's amazing is that $360,000 was donated by the community. And what you see in Mooncast with just the 5 full-time developers and a couple of part-timers, what we've actually done should have cost about $700,000. So what I mean by that is this team has matched the community's donations by donating a lot of our own time to get to where we are. Just being super transparent, I chose not to pay myself from the funds raised because I wanted to see this go as far as possible. The rest of the team has been working well below their normal rates. That's allowed us to get a lot farther, and we built a lot more. We've survived this far, and it meant making some personal sacrifices along the way for most of us. So we have, like I said, we have 5 full-time people and a couple of part-timers that come and go at different times. And what's amazing is the original pitch that I gave had a list of features in it and a timeline. And with the 15 people I'd originally expected to have on the team, we didn't get that, and we couldn't afford them. And we managed to deliver on almost everything in that original pitch document. We're just a couple of months behind schedule, but we did it at a third the price. I think that's extraordinary. It really is. Because I've been doing this a long time, and I kind of have an idea of what it costs and how long it'll take, and the kind of headcount it would take. And that what that really means is that these five and a half, 6 people have done the work of 15 people. And it's just amazing. What I do want to remind people of is that during Milestone 3, I mentioned 3 things that we needed to continue building at this pace. Our Discord needs to grow. The videos need to reach more people, and we need to raise some funding. And the truth is, I didn't quite make that. I did what I could. I've tried really hard. This is not a good environment. It's not a good time. And I'm not gonna pretend like it's just the environment. I mean, maybe we didn't have what investors are looking for today. But I do want to say that everybody on this team is amazing. I've enjoyed every minute working with them, but they also have families and mortgages and groceries to buy. And without funding, it'll be difficult for us all to work full-time on Mooncast without being able to pay bills. So what I'm saying is expect the pace to slow a bit. I know I'll continue adding as many features as possible while continuing the search for funding. This isn't over. We are just shy of having a whole bunch of core gameplay in and functioning. And once there's a bit more to do, I think it'll be easier to show and easier to get a deal. But when we were searching for capital, whether from a publisher or VC or angels, they just didn't see it yet. And I think that's because we were just too early. So that being said, if you're the kind of person who has the ability and desire to back a game team, this is an excellent opportunity to get in early with a well-oiled team and a project already well on its way. So send me a DM if you want. That being said, let's change the tone. We are celebrating this milestone, and historically, we always do that with a music video. So do us a favor and send this video to your friends who only have a 2-minute attention span.
Moonlit skies, keyboards aglow for us. Our ideas weaving a restless buzz. Buzzing circuits, dreams in color we trust. We came all night, ignite those sparks. No sleep for the coldest hearts on fire. We build the walls, the old desire. Pushing limits higher, taking flight. In pixels bright, we chase the night. Under stars, our minds never tire. Ideas chase through wires, taking us higher. In every line, a new universe is drawn. Together we stand until the break of dawn. Giving everything they've got, no rest tonight. Play a progression, mastery inside. Crafting realms where they can roam. In this digital world, we found a home. No sleep for coldest hearts on fire. We build the walls, the old desire. Pushing limits higher, taking flight. In pixels bright, we chase the night. Here we go, the world's alive. The fishing vein comes online. Cast the line so reel it in. Adventure awaits, let us begin. No sleep for the coders, hearts on fire. No sleep for the coders, hearts on fire. In this digital world, we found our home. Crafting realms where they can roam. Yeah, the night is ours. We'll link our dreams in glowing towers. No sleep for coders, hearts on fire. We build the walls, the old desire. Pushing limits higher, taking flight. In pixels bright, we chase the night.
Oh man, when you hear that enough times, it sticks in your head. So what goes next? I fully expect that once you have fish, you're going to want to eat them. So we need to get consumables in there. We're pretty soon going to need that for core survival skills. Stamina. We tweaked the way stamina and health works. So you need food because your health will slowly drip away unless you eat something. We need to have basic crafting in there. Basic crafting meaning if you're going to make bread, you're going to make bread the same way every time, right? We don't necessarily need a lot of flexibility there, but basic crafting, once we have that, you take in some materials, you turn out an item, then we can start building more interesting things after that. We're going to need cooking. Cooking is a basic craft. And that'll allow us to do things like changing the expiration time for fish so that they take longer. Because right now I think they're set to an hour. Is that right? I think it's an hour. So if you have a raw fish, if you log out, it will still expire in an hour, even if you're not online, because fish don't last forever. When you log back in, it's gone. It'll still be there if you log in 10 minutes, but you have an hour to do whatever you want with this fish. So some things are in real time and some things are in game time, and we're still kind of figuring out what goes where. But cooking would, instead of it being like an hour, your fish will probably last for 3 or 4 days or something like that. So there's reasons for you to do all these different actions, and it's not just because you think they look better. It actually helps. So expiration will take longer, and then they'll probably give you slightly different properties when you eat them. We're going to need to implement swappable character models. We're actually pretty close there, but there's 2 steps to that. Swappable character models means you could change your head anywhere, anytime. If you have an extra head, you just pop it on. But what'll happen is the model will change, and then all of the gear will automatically conform to fit that model. So instead of there being a male version of everything and a female version of everything and all the other variations, it's actually the same gear, and it just will shape. So we have to build that shaping mechanism. It's called a lattice deformer. We'll do that at runtime. And once we have that, you'll have characters that can change and deform and look all different. And we can even animate those things if we wanted to. So we could inflate a character and have them look kind of cool. And then we need to expand the world tile system. Angel didn't really mention it much, but he built the whole tile system, and that eventually becomes the whole game. Like literally every part of what makes the game interesting is the tile system that right now only knows about fish, really. But when you're casting your bait, go to the dock. Don't go anywhere else because there's no fish anywhere else. But go to the dock, and you can cast into the lake. And when you do that, you're actually talking to the tile system. The tile system actually knows what kind of fish are in each space and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to need to make that a lot more capable, because it's not just about fish. It's about claiming land, about putting down buildings, about ownership, a whole bunch of other things. So those things are coming. They're coming, I wouldn't say super soon, but they're going to be definite upgrades. And if you're a VIP and you have a VIP badge, you can get in and check out our weekly builds. And hopefully we'll start seeing some of those things roll online sooner than later. You guys have anything else to add? Anything we forgot?
I'm glad you brought up the fishing only by the dock, because that's because of our first version woes and that sort of stuff. So yeah, just if you cast in the water and you never get a little quick time event to reel something in, just go somewhere close to the dock. Later on, we'll support every single body of water in the game, but right now we have to limit it to just that area, like in and around the dock. And so if you walk around the lake, you might not get it, but stick to that area. So you might see a lot of people there trying to catch fish like you are.
Yeah, and you can equip the fish now. So your consumable slots, you can actually show off. I'll post a picture in a little bit, but I caught a couple of the most challenging fish and hung them on my backpack, and I had a couple of the lower end fish on my belt. It looked kind of crazy, but I was still pretty proud of it. Yeah, this is about it, guys. This is milestone 4, wrapping up the live stream. Thanks for joining us. And if you don't have any, go get some Bodhi on base. download the latest build of Mooncast, and go try fishing at the lake. Check out the NFT import feature if you have NFTs. It's not going to take anything from you, but it's just testing the import. So you have to click the import button, and then you have to log out, log back in, and it shows up in your inventory. So that's in the inventory screen. It's pretty sweet. And yeah, thanks for joining us. Try not to die. Bye, guys.
Take care.